It is time for Legends Look Back. We are here. We are ready, doing the show, saying the things, punching the buttons, all that good stuff. And in order to start the show here tonight, I had to forcibly kick the cat out of my chair
What?
because,
You
I
kicked
didn't.
your cat?
No, it's like a metaphor.
Like a Spartan kick, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because you got stairs right at your door.
I picked up my office chair. She likes to sleep in this thing. And
Okay.
I picked it up and I turned it like a good 45 degrees at an angle to dump her out of it. You know what she did?
Mm-hmm.
She looked at me, stuck her claws into it, and hung there like she was going to dangle off the edge of the cliff like in Indiana Jones or something. Anyway, she's out of here. And we're now here ready to do the show. But you know what's crazy is the fact that both Rick and I got new puppies like within a week of each other. Also, yeah. Emily, I think not Emily. Emma also got a new puppy. Shout out to Emma, who's been on the show quite a number of times. And so here tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the pets behind the scenes at Legends Look Back. I've heard some allusions to the pets behind the scenes. What's y'all's? I know Rick's got the Dalmatians thing, right? Show off the pets. We got some pics, right?
Yeah. Here, Jared's pets.
That one makes my feet look awkwardly big. But what's amazing is all three animals are looking at the camera. We got Bilbo.
That's pretty astounding.
Bilbo the Bagel Hound. We got Kyle the puppy, the golden retriever, and then Marigold the cat sitting next to me. She was very upset that I was trying to get her to pose for a picture near the puppy. She was like, "Bro, do you have a death wish? Because I cannot be that close to him."
And Jared the Hobbit with the big hairy feet.
It cracks me up how much other animals just really don't like puppies. Like, it takes a very special animal to be patient with a puppy.
How about y'all? You got your pets?
Yep.
Yeah, let's see.
I've got a better picture than that, by the way. Just the cat's not in it.
Yeah, here you go. Here's Jared's better
that
picture.
Remarkably good picture for a spur of the moment idea.
It almost sounded like
Very
a dog
cute.
when he said.
You should see how tight I'm holding on to
pick.
both of these dogs to keep them from running to my wife, who's got the treats.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, so we got the puppy. Since we moved here, I told my wife moving back to Arkansas. Imagine a couple of big dogs running around the yard. She took it very seriously. I meant it like hypothetically, but nope. Here we are, real puppy, not a hypothetical puppy. Very much a real life puppy.
Yep. Here's my puppies. This is Old Man Samson. He's not that old. He's like 7 or 8.
Not nearly hairy enough for a Samson.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's just super strong, ridiculously strong. Then Maya, the cuddle bug, she's fat, but we love her. And then the puppy, good old Tycho.
Wow, you've got 3 Dalmatians?
You put them all together and voila.
Wow, that is.
I've never seen that many Dalmatians except for in the feature film.
I was gonna say, there's some movies.
They're very, very immodest. We go anywhere and like a crowd flocks to us wanting to pet them and talk to them, and they don't care about us, just the dogs. I mean, I get it because I love my dogs. They're awesome, but puppies.
I love that.
Wow, beautiful. Freddie, you have alluded to the fact that you've got dogs.
Yeah. Many dogs throughout my life. This is my pup right here. He's about 4 years old, I believe. 4 years old, exact. To the month. Wow. And
did you forget his birthday?
No, it's later on.
Okay.
It's way later on. Yeah. So he's chilling here. He's always bugging me when I work though. He's my arm is hanging off the side kind of. And he's tall enough to hit it with his nose, and he usually hits my arm and it lands on the top of his head every single time. When I'm in a meeting, doesn't matter if I'm talking to council or whomever. It's always he always wants the attention. Then I just give him a couple pats, and then he runs on his way. He's a pretty massive. He's a Doberman, so he's got a pretty massive physique for a Doberman, and incredibly strong too. So I mean, he. I don't know. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't really like to walk him too much because he can. I mean, he would probably rip the arm out of my socket. That's why I have to work out. It's not to look good or anything. It's so that I can walk him.
So you can walk the dog.
I get that.
That's a good Star Wars connection, though.
Personal safety.
I found myself the other day in a conversation with my kids about like the whole thing where Chewie, theoretically pulls people's arms out of their sockets.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's that game where Chewie, you got to let the Wookiee win. They're like, why do you got to let the Wookiee win? And I was like, because he'll pull your arm out of your sockets. They were like,
Yeah.
hold up, wait a second, that sounds violent.
That's a
I
thing.
thought Chewie was nice. I was like, no, don't overthink it. But hey,
Let
you
the
got
Wookiee win.
Let the
That's right.
Wookiee
Let
win.
the Doberman win. That's what I'm hearing. Right, you would have a Doberman. You're such like a laid back, kind, gentle guy. Also, could totally kick anybody's butt with your.
Yeah, like
Judo.
a subtle beast.
Yeah. The subtle
A
beast.
sleeper, as they say.
Mm.
Hey.
Emily, how about you? What's your pet history? Give us something juicy like gerbils or snakes.
Well, I do have that. This is not either of those things. This is my dog playing with an egg. Her name's Riley. We rescued her in Kansas, and she's like 30 pounds, super, super cuddly, very social. She's always underfoot. Like she'll follow me around the house all day, every day. If she's separated from us, she whines. But she doesn't really care to run away. First dog I've ever had that couldn't care less about being away from us, like just wants to be around.
Mhm.
And I also, when I was a teacher, I got a grant to get a classroom pet. Any guesses as to which classroom pet I picked?
Let's see. You if I remember correctly, you were semi quirky back then. So is it a quirky kind of pet?
What are you saying? That now
I
she's just a
was
boring mom? Is that what
semi-quirky.
you're saying?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, Dollywood and the
Oh,
whole
that's right.
what
The
was it?
Dollywood
The
thing.
bow tie collection?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
of
What
one.
about like a ferret?
Fedoras? No, not
Ferrets
fedoras.
freak me out, man. I'm not a fan.
They're
Okay.
stinky. They're
But
Strike
stinky.
that's
out on
cool.
a ferret. I understand.
Yeah,
That's
not
fine.
a ferret.
Snake.
Snake, yep. Yep. I had a
Ooh.
python. Any guesses as to what kind of name it had?
Okay.
What did I name my
python.
python?
Okay.
Is it Harry
Yeah,
Potter related?
It's got to be Star Wars,
No.
right?
All right.
No.
It's got to be a Star
No.
Wars name.
Not
Not a Star Wars name? This is before you
No.
met Corey Hilton.
Niche comedy.
Niche comedy.
Chris Farley.
No.
Oh, dang
Chris
Good
Farley.
guess. Good guess.
Starts
Sure
with an
mix a lot.
M.
Anaconda. No, that's Anaconda.
Mike Myers.
Monty.
Oh,
Monty the
that's
python.
it.
That's
Really
Hey.
right.
Oh, that's so
That's-
good.
You know what? I
That
knew
is
that. You've
good.
said this
Yes.
before.
I
I
have
remember
said
this
it
too.
before.
We're just bad listeners. For shame.
Oh,
That's right. But we're great talkers.
That's
and
right.
that's why you're here for our podcast. Well, we are not going to be talking about our own personal pets tonight, other than the fact that we just did.
Oh,
You're welcome. Oh, did we miss one?
I got a cat. There you go. Ta-da!
Oh.
His name is Sergeant Tibbs because that's the only cat in 101 Dalmatians.
Sergeant Tips.
Oh,
That's
you're right about
adorable.
that. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. Moving along.
That's so cool.
Honestly, shout out to Sergeant Tibbs for surviving in a house
Mm.
with 3 Dalmatians.
And 2 young children.
Yeah,
That's
you said
a
it.
lot.
You said it, not me.
Do you ever see the cat, or is the
Oh,
cat
yeah.
just kind of like around?
Oh, he beats up the kids. He doesn't like the kids. He'll chase them and start biting their ankles and stuff. And yeah, he loves the adults. So he'll cuddle on any adult's shoulder, but kids he does not like. Tycho will go and antagonize him, and like they'll fight. But yeah, he holds his own pretty well because he was like a
Dog
rescue.
fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Get it.
Yeah,
Ah!
who needs the parent when you can just have your cat keep your kids in line?
Yeah, for real.
Reminds me of when my wife did her student teaching in Bald Knob, Arkansas,
Hey,
which is a real place.
that's where Jessica
and-
went too.
And there was a kid in her class who had a pet monkey.
Hmm.
And one day,
wow.
at parent-teacher conference, Rebecca, and the teacher were like, "Yo, tell us about the monkey." And she was like, "Yeah, the monkey's not really working out, so we got another monkey to teach the first monkey how to do the laundry."
Why do I
It's,
feel like
you
you've
know-
told me this before?
I mean, it's one of my stories.
I
It's
think it is. Yeah.
it's definitely
This
in the
must-
in the
But-
tool belt of stories.
I would say this must have been one of the early Legends Look Back stories.
Yeah,
I
I
believe
on the
that.
old-
I don't
I could
know
see
the
that.
stories. So that sounds right.
It's
But-
so
that
good.
sounds horrifying.
I would really like a laundry monkey. Is there one that does the dishes too? Is that an option?
Dobby.
anytime,
Name it
Dobby.
Dobby.
anytime my wife and I, neither of us want to do the chores, we'll be like, what we need?
a monkey.
We need a
A
monkey
whole
to
team
train
of
the
them.
other monkey to do the chores. Well,
Yeah.
this leads us into the show tonight, which is the fact that, for Star Wars being a galaxy with dozens, if not thousands of ridiculous creatures. There are very few pets. We're going to talk about some of those pets tonight. We're also going to talk about the great stable of pets. Of creatures, even, shall we say, monsters. Video editor can insert one of those noises right there, and like maybe some lightning for Halloween.
Oh, here we go. Here, I got something.
All right, we got one. Here we go. Monsters.
I sense much fear in you.
Okay.
That could have been better. Let's be honest. So we're going to talk about.
Okay.
In case you can't tell,
roasting himself.
Rick got himself some sound effect buttons.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's going to
true.
be a fun show. Also, we're going to talk about which of these monsters we would like to have as our own personal pet. We're talking about the great creatures, the great monsters of the expanded universe. There's some awesome ones for us to talk about. There's also some weird ones, and I can't wait for it. So, without further ado, Rick, let's go to the zoo.
What?
Press the button. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back, proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast for people who believe Earthworm Jim is the best video game of all time, and we will never be convinced otherwise. Where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined tonight by my legendary co-hosts, Freddie C.
I love Earthworm Jim. I totally forgot about that game. I hadn't thought about it in a while. It was definitely one of my top 10 games. Definitely nostalgia factor, though, for sure.
Oh, man. I went down a deep YouTube rabbit hole this week, all about it. You know who
Love
else
it.
loves him a good YouTube rabbit hole? Our producer, Rick Grace.
Hey, I know nothing about Earthworm, whomever that I
James.
recall. James.
Earthworm James.
James. Jim.
Earthworm Jimothy.
Jimothy.
It's,
I was gonna say Timothy. Dang it.
I'm here though.
Yeah. You know who else
How
is
was
here?
nobody named Jimothy in real life? I feel like everybody wants to say
There
it.
should
Such a
Well,
be.
missed
we gotta get-
opportunity.
A good pet name. Here we go. That would be a great pet name to go along with her
And our
pet
last
snake.
co-host,
Her- that's
Jimothy
right.
Daybeck.
To go along with her pet snake, Emily Daybeck. How are you doing, Emily?
Doing well. I had no idea who Earthworm Jimothy is. I had to look him up.
Yeah, you should. I've got
I've
some
seen
YouTube
him
videos to
around
send you.
though. I remember his visage. I just have no idea what video game it is.
It was like a Sega Genesis game, I think.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
There was also a sequel,
Okay.
and then like very cartoony, ridiculous, over the top, superhero.
Buff.
And
Is
then
it
they
like
turned-
Pajama Sam? I remember Pajama Sam.
That's
Cool.
lost on me. Sorry, but
yeah, that's fine.
he was like a superhero, but he was just a worm in a big bodysuit.
Can we just
It
talk
was
about Tonka?
It's
Ooh,
ridiculous.
Tonka trucks.
Man. that was
Oh,
a
Pajama
fun game.
Sam.
Yeah, you were such a cool kid, Rick. Such a cool kid. Speaking of cool, tell the good folks about what's going on in your face.
Oh yeah, my face. I lost some facial hair.
That's what's different.
You just
I don't know why. I can notice when hats change and hair changes, but
But-
for some reason facial hair.
you're just like, wow, that guy is uglier than usual, but no idea what it was, right? So I decided a long time ago. My church had a trunk or treat, Halloween, and I knew that I was going to be lazy and not clean out my trunk, and so I thought, okay, it'd be kind of funny if I did my theme as junk in the trunk.
No.
And so
No.
that was my theme, but I was like, how can
Or
I
mix a lot.
how can I get away with this? And I was like, I'll make it redneck, because what better way to do that than redneck? Oh yeah, excuse the junk in my trunk. And so I went
So-
all in on this.
Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I want to say from my point of view is
Uh-huh.
I don't usually scroll through Facebook. Never. It's never my thing. For some reason I had an urge. I had an urge to go and
Yeah.
just look at it.
Kind of
yeah.
like
And
when
I
Luke
see-
is dangling from that weather vane.
Dangling.
in The Empire Strikes Back.
Dangling. That's my new word, guys, is dangling.
Yeah, and I
Dangling, 2
see.
syllables.
Speaking of dangling, I see Rick's stomach just on
Dangling.
my screen.
So yeah,
Dangling.
I went with a full on, no
Oh,
shame.
we gotta see. Show the people.
No shame redneck.
Yes.
I gotta set it up though. So I had
Okay. Okay.
I had the cutoff jeans, the cutoff t-shirt, mismatched boots. I put all kind. I actually did add some extra junk to my trunk. Wow, that sounds weird. And yeah. So here's the complete picture. Brace yourself. Also, I did modify my face, so the mustache is actually an improvement over what I had to scare the children on Halloween night. So here we go. That's the wrong image. Okay, here we go.
We got it. Wait
There
for
it
There
is.
we go. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
It's Rick sitting in the back of his car in his jorts and his white upper arms
They're there.
with the sign.
I
duct
almost
taped.
don't even recognize you, man.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a-
Crazy.
People
There's a
didn't.
sign duct taped to the back of the trunk
Uh-huh.
that says something about "Please excuse the junk in my trunk," and there's a tarp hanging out of it.
Yeah.
It's a
Got
mood.
An ammo box,
It's
a
involved.
packing chair. There's pieces of wood and trash everywhere. Here's the best seller right there. You get the
That's
full
the one.
the full experience with
Wow.
the mutton
Full day.
chop, chin strap, the girth hanging out, the "Love You Mom" sharpied on my right arm.
Moving on,
That
in
is
stark
a
contrast to
bit.
Rick's Halloween costume.
I got a
as
medal.
always.
I got
yeah,
a
hey,
medal.
congratulations,
Thank you.
everybody.
Look at
Thank
you.
Unlike
Yeah,
Chewy,
yeah.
Rick won an award for
That's
this.
right. That's right.
Yeah, you look
And-
a lot like that guy I used to buy candy from.
We went
There
to Chick-fil-A afterwards, and it just looks so gross, man.
Did they
So
make you
gross.
the owner?
They thought about it, man. I got looks. Let me tell you.
It was your pleasure, that's for sure. All right.
Oh.
Did any of the rest of y'all do Halloween costumes? I didn't get a chance this year. I was occupied on Monday.
Excuses.
I think Emily had a nice costume.
I did. Inspired by your introduction to the white girl fall meme, like what every
did.
white girl wears in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was such a cultural phenomenon. And so I decided for the first time in a very long time to dress up for Halloween. And I bet you can picture it in your mind. I had a white shirt on and a black vest and some
Just went
pants,
to your closet.
all boots. I did go into my closet. I did buy the vest at Goodwill. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
And I borrowed a belt from my husband. So it looks pretty Han Solo-y, if I have to say so myself. And I borrowed my husband's shirt too. So I borrowed a couple of things, but I technically didn't buy anything more than the vest for the costume. But yeah,
I applaud your efforts.
thank you so much. My culture is not your costume. So thank you.
Wow.
I love the holster there too.
Really
That's
pulled
Oh,
it off.
yeah.
perfect.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, people
Nice.
were like, if it weren't for the belt, I would just think you were wearing clothes. Like, oh, thanks
The
a
belt,
lot.
it gives it
You're part of
just
the
enough-
problem.
Just enough of the spice to say, you know what, that's not just an outfit, that's a costume.
That's right.
Mm. Yep.
I low-key, after showing my belt buckle collection, really need like a legit Han Solo, like
Ooh,
screen
that'd be cool.
authentic belt, the
Mm.
belt buckle. Because Han Solo,
Yeah.
Cause Han Solo.
big into belt buckles.
Yep.
What is
Also
it called?
Emily.
The Corellian stripes down the side too.
The
Oh,
blood
yeah.
stripes.
Blood stripes. Corellian blood stripes. Is there any
Yeah.
Corellian in there? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Freddie, did you dress up? Did you get to do the
I
festivities?
did. I was Prince Isolder. No one knew who I was.
What
Yeah,
now?
that is the beauty of doing a cliche costumes. You don't have to explain yourself. Like I thought about putting like a book in my pocket to like show people, but I was like, nah, this
Right.
is pretty self-explanatory.
Freddie,
That's hysterical.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
So basically, I was Prince Isolder as a vampire. That was my costume. So I had this very simple. If you go to Wikipedia and look up Prince Isolder, I looked like that, but with vampire teeth. That was the difference.
Prince
Oh my
Isolder.
gosh. So he's just
Had
Fabio,
the headband.
right? Isn't that his whole
Yep,
thing?
had the long hair, headband. Had like
Oh,
the
fantastic.
blouse.
As a vampire.
I love it. I feel so sad that I didn't participate. Next year, I want to buy
We'll
one of
both
those
be Prince
boss
Isolde.
masks from Spirit Halloween, and then I'm gonna wear it with my Jedi robes and be a Trandoshan Jedi.
There you
Nice.
go.
So We'll see if we can pull it together. But we're going to talk about in the spirit of the spooky season. Now that it's November and everybody's moved on, we haven't, because we're all about the outdated and irrelevant here at Legends Lookback. As we celebrate the Star Wars expanded universe, we're going to talk about the great monsters of the Star Wars universe. Let's go ahead and get the cliche out of the way, Emily, just for you, right? What is your favorite movie monster? Your favorite monster from the Star Wars films themselves? Let's go ahead and plow through, the A-list monsters, and I want us to get into like D-tier monsters for today's episode.
Okay.
You have like a favorite of the original trilogy monsters?
I mean, I feel like the noble tauntaun is like, it can't be overstated. It is like reliable, might be a little smelly, but man, you need something to get you around in the snow. As I'm a horse girl, so I really like rideable animals.
Like Valentine Farfalla?
Oh, well, no.
I've never seen what's happening below the waist over there. This is, after all, a video podcast.
Yeah, I'm a horse girl. Turns out I am half, not bovine, equine.
Bovine.
Half Bothan.
Bovine.
Yeah, no, I don't know where to take that.
And I thought they smelled bad on the outside. All right, so
I mean, Darth
Tauntauns are off the
Tumnus is
board.
my son. So.
That is true. Hey, I feel like we need to pull out some strings and a map. The conspiracy theory is adding up. Never seen her below the waist.
You have.
Her son
Celebration, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, theory's busted.
Yeah, you did.
It's funny.
All right,
Well,
moving
not
on.
anymore.
Tauntauns are off the board. That's Emily's favorite original trilogy monster. Who else? Freddie?
You know what, Rick? Go ahead.
Hey,
Go
thank you. Woohoo. Okay. All right.
You just skipped over me noise.
It was the please don't take mine. Please don't take mine. I'm gonna go with the Sarlacc, man. I had nightmares of that thing. The original un-CGI'd, just the pit of teeth in the sand with some tentacles.
So you're a no
It's
beat
terrifying.
I mean, I like both versions, but the original is what I had very vivid memories of and some nightmares. So,
well, I think we've got a picture of it. The cool thing about the Sarlacc is Legends actually, explores it below the surface, if you will. How many times does Boba Fett get swallowed and escape the Sarlacc pit?
Like 3 times.
In Legends, 3 times,
Yeah.
I think.
I think there's 2
like that.
confirmed, 1 alleged.
And then there's a retelling of the same event that happens twice in both Tales of the Bounty Hunters and the Bounty Hunter Wars. This has been something that I've looked into recently for reasons. Okay, the Tauntauns and then Sarlaccs get explored quite decently in Legends. In the Thrawn trilogy, Mara Jade was retconned to having been that's not right. To have been, past tense, at Jabba's palace. And they refer to the Sarlacc pit as the Great Pit of Carkoon.
mm-hmm.
Does that come from anywhere else? Is that just like a Zahn trying to zhuzh it up a bit?
I don't know.
I've heard it as the pit of Carkoon, but I don't know if it's just from Thrawn or what.
That is just one of those things that's cemented into my Legends brain.
Yeah.
As like one of those little Legends
It-
factoids that.
If you look on, oh man, we're gonna mention it twice, so get your toothpick holders ready. In Star Wars Galaxies, if you
There it
open the
is.
map,
There it
if
is.
you open the map and you look for points of interest, you will see the pit of Carkoon. That's
Oh, it
that's
calls
what
it
it's
that.
called. Yep.
Uh-huh. He's all right. Jabba, Skooma Joe says Jabba calls it the pit of Sarkoon in Return of the Jedi. What do you speak Huttese now, Skooma Joe? Is that what this is? All right.
Hey!
uh,
Oh! Okay, this is
Rick
creepy.
has found something
Yes.
in the archives.
This is,
Either
like I
that-
said, one of the first Star Wars books I had as a kid before I knew there were other Star Wars books. And it says it. They were awaiting the fate that Jabba, had decreed for them to be thrown into the Great Pit of Carkoon. So it's there. I got that one.
So, okay. So is that like maybe the pit
love
of
it.
Carkoon? It's like It wasn't just a normal Sarlacc pit. It was like a legendary pit of
Isn't it?
Carcoon, like
Yeah.
There's like
the big
geographically
one.
referenced. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
I
the
feel
big
like there's
Sarlacc
a
pit. There's
I
smaller
feel like there's a
Sarlacc pits.
legend that the Sarlacc pit was some sort of monster in an asteroid that crashed into Tatooine and ended up making residence there. I'm
Sounds right.
not
They've
sure
done
if anyone.
They've done more with
Oh.
him in recent canon. There's like a
Yeah.
whole thing where there's a baby Sarlacc at Doc Ondar's shop at Batu, and it's a whole thing. It's Han
Yeah.
Solo. They're very disturbing.
Star Wars
very-
is weird, guys.
yeah. You
So
heard it here
weird.
first, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
However,
sort of like an animal pitcher plant, where it's just like
Sure.
sitting there.
Uh huh.
It just
I like the
follows whatever
scene-
comes along.
I love the scene in Kenobi where the what's the teenage girl?
Oh,
Ah.
okay. Annalyn,
She's
Anna,
her
something.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is riding
No.
the
Mhm.
dewback across. Is it a dewback?
No, it's
Yeah. I think yeah.
no.
It's not. Oh,
No.
Eope.
Eope. Yeah.
Mhm.
Across like a pit of Sarlacc, a field of Sarlacc pits.
A field of
With,
Sarlacc
like
pits.
baby Sarlacc pits.
That's crazy.
Anyway, it's a great scene. Good book. All right. Here's who else gets the pick. I asked the question, so I have to go
let's
last.
see.
Is that how it goes?
I haven't gone yet, so this
Why
one's
don't
a
you take
tough
my
one.
pick?
I've got a few. I don't want to take your pick, so I'm gonna say one that I know probably isn't your pick. I like Nexu. I'm a big fan of Nexu. I feel like it's like a what is it? Like a tiger, cat, wolf.
Dinosaur.
With razor
dinosaur,
blade teeth and
razor blade-
6 eyes.
Yeah, I would like to have a pet Acklay and a pet Nexu for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that more before the episode's over. There is a very iconic Nexu
Oh,
in
Ooh,
Legends.
Yeah.
Also,
oh, I
love that
hated
this
that
one,
thing.
This thing, my wife, I was telling her about the episode, and she said, "Oh, is that the thing that conveniently scratches Padme's blouse in just the right
Yes.
way?"
Just perfectly
Yeah.
for what was it, 1990 or 1999 or
2001,
2001? Yeah,
2001, yeah.
that's a 2001 thing.
Yep.
Very much so. All right, my pick
And the
is
Britney
Rankers.
Spears.
There we
movie
go. Yeah,
costume.
very much a Britney Spears thing. Yeah,
All right.
Rankers.
Rankers.
Nothing like Britney
I
Spears.
knew it.
But
I didn't say
Nothing like-
Ranker.
a great
That's gonna be my next pick.
classic
same.
Star Wars creature. I do love the way that they're developed in Legends. We'll come back to that more
Mm.
in a minute. I think the defining thing about the Rancor, other than the fact now I call them that.
Yep.
We've joked about it for so long, I can't
Yep.
stop calling them that. About the Rancors
Love it.
is first of all, they've got like a keeper. There's like a dude
Uh-huh.
who trains them,
Yeah.
befriends
It's
him.
like they imprint on
Malakili.
each other.
Yeah, his story is really good in Tales of Jabba's Palace. Very good.
It is. Yeah.
But also, I think what makes them really work is the fact that the nostrils are above the eyes.
Mm.
That,
Oh yeah.
to me, is the defining characteristic. The
There's another
nose
crazy thing,
above the eyes.
right?
Go ahead.
It's an arachnid. It's like part arachnid, I think. That's like the species of it.
But it doesn't have 8 limbs.
Well, part arachnid.
I would say half.
I'm gonna give that
Fact
one a solid.
checking.
I'm gonna give that one a solid. But also, we're gonna come back to. There's at least one more creature tonight that we're gonna talk about that has 8 limbs. Are they part arachnid? Who knows? Anyway, there's some great classic, original trilogy and/or Freddy's reference a prequel monster here. Rick, I think we've got a spread with some movie monsters. Let us know your favorite movie monster. We've picked Tauntauns, Nexu, Sarlacc, and the one I said, Rancors. Right, Rancors. So anyway, let us know your favorite
Ooh,
movie
you have a
monster.
Legends
others-
dialect.
any others that we haven't mentioned that deserve at least a quick shout out here before we move on to the
about-
Legends monsters proper?
How about the top right or top left hand corner there? That's a pretty popular one. Sure we all recognize. The Wampa.
The trouble with the
Oh, yeah.
Wampa is it's introduced in the special edition.
Mm.
So in the original, all you see is just the hand, right? In the face.
What about
You don't get the full body
in-
until 97.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think it's a bad design. I don't know. At least it's a little bit of cred for me.
Mm.
It may not matter, but
Now,
All
which
right.
one does not lose cred for me is the crate dragon.
The crate dragon is awesome. You see the skeleton in the original films, and then that's where the expanded universe jumps in to expand the lore, right? And also we're going to talk about the crate dragon in KOTOR, because it's kind of just like a schleppy, chubby boy hanging out in a cave, sitting on his pearls.
My man.
So, some great movie characters. Let's talk about movie monsters. Let's talk about the great legend-specific monsters. Now, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to run down a list of the carefully curated list that I put together in a couple hours today and last night. And then after we've gone through them all, we're going to come back around and rank them in a top 10 fashion. Are we ready? So in no particular order, Freddie is going to lead us off with the Balyeg.
Yeah, the Balyeg. So Balyeg shows up in Blood Ties, and it's a scene where we see Boba Fett surrounded by a bunch of thugs with very menacing-looking weapons and faces, and he's I think just talking to himself, or it's in his head, talking about why he's not afraid of the situation, and then immediately it cuts into the next scene where you see Jango Fett training Boba Fett to face fear, right? To face fear and never be afraid of it, and sends him into the cave at the ripe old age of probably like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Fantastic parenting.
And
second only to Rick having his cats bite his kids to keep them in line.
There you go. And his goal is to get the tooth from the Balyeg, and gets it. And that's probably one of the most intense creatures. It's humongous. I would say Boba Fett is the size of the tooth, if I remember.
Probably just got
Yeah, it was a pretty big one.
Definitely. It's a very iconic, very iconic imagery. Also a great way to kick off the story. And then, I mean, it's literally the beginning of this entire epic saga. It's the equivalent of like the birthday spanking, just like, all right, here we go, boy. And pushes him out the nest to go retrieve the tooth. And then it does come back around, the Balyeg tooth, before the end of the story. So very good. From Boba Fett Blood Ties, the Balyeg, an iconic Legends monster. Who else we got? Oh, it's my turn. Rick, show the good folks what a Gizka is. I was talking to my kids about this episode before it, and I was like, hey, I'll show you which ones we're talking about. I had to edit a couple of these out. They were too scary. They said, show us the cute ones. I let off with this bad boy, the Gizkas. Here's the deal about the Gizkas.
What is that?
This is
it looks like a fossil.
It's an extremely reproductive amphibian.
What?
That makes his home on the Ebon Hawk in Knights of the Old Republic. So there's a planet that you go to, and one of them comes up to you and smiles, and you pet it, and you're like, "Oh, what's up, cute little fella?" And then he like imprints on you. And if I remember this correctly, goes and makes his home in the Ebon Hawk. The Gizkas are notorious for like destroying electrical wiring, so they like start chewing on the ship, messing things up. All the crew members on the ship get upset. They're like, bro, you got to kick these out of here. And so depending on if you've taken the light path or the dark path, you can either find a way to murder them or you have
the light path, right?
Or you have to find a way to creatively get them to relocate off the ship. I don't want to spoil it for because it really is. All right, this is a game that's like light and dark and Sith Lords, and you're slaying monsters, but then also you have to figure out how to deal with the Gizka infestation on your ship.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you try to strangle one, somewhere along the line they reproduce more. And so you have to find a more creative solution to get rid of them. And so this is like the most critically acclaimed Star Wars video game ever made. And one of the plot points is that if you mess this plot up bad enough, your ship will be literally teeming with hundreds of Gizka. They'll be up under your feet. You'll be squishing them. Canderous Ordo, the Mandalorian, will be like, I hate these dang things. It's like, oh, it's hilarious.
How many Gizkas did you try to strangle, Jared?
I don't have like a number off the top of my head, but
Hundreds.
I know for sure I've strangled at least a couple of dozen Gizka. I mean, that's just like anybody.
which ended up with hundreds of them infesting your ship
Yeah, no, they can.
and
They're just hopping
significantly
everywhere.
delaying your
Yeah.
gameplay.
Right.
Mhm.
It's a great little side quest.
So funny.
Delightful,
That
even.
yeah.
You know what else
No,
is
that's,
delightful? Our next monster tonight, also from Knights of the Old Republic, the Tarentatech. The Tarentatechs are dubbed. Yeah, Emily, I want to hear you try to say Tarentatech. All right.
Tarentatechs. No, there's a reason I didn't choose that one.
Yeah.
Tarentatechs.
Rick, is
What?
this one of those words that, if you spell it backwards, is the
Oh
exact
my
same
gosh.
word?
No, it's
That
definitely
looks
not.
like a straight up Pokemon.
Though it is.
100%.
Yeah. Or no, it's this definitely more Digimon, I would say.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I wanna
Digimon
say-
for
Legendary
sure.
quality.
The
Yeah.
Tarentatech's business card says Tarentatech, straight up Pokemon. Also, within the universe, they're dubbed Jedi killers. Tarentatechs
Oh.
were, if I remember
Whoa.
correctly, they're introduced to Knights of the Old Republic. They're in a handful of other titles as well. They're like an ancient creature that were bioengineered to, and I'm pulling all this out of my butt here. I think they can sniff. They were engineered to sniff out like bombs on planets, and then by the Jedi, and then
Okay.
some way, or the Sith maybe, somewhere along the way, they developed a taste for Force-infused meat, and
I'm sorry, what?
it backfired. They
Oh, you've never
began-
had it before?
They began to
Forced
feast.
ignorance, like Wagyu beef.
Yeah, you got to slow cook it. You got to slow cook it. So they hunt the Jedi, and so then like eventually I think they dump them on the moon of Bogan, and so the moon
Okay.
of Bogan, you got Ashla and Bogan, like this old school George Lucas concept of light and dark, and the Dawn of the Jedi comics in the book. There's like a horde of them on the moon of Bogan, which is super metal. They have
It totally is. That'll shred.
I'd like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd like to hear a heavy metal band called the Horde of Tarentatechs. Anyway,
Man.
Sounds like a good name, actually.
getting off
Yeah,
the
it would.
rails. In KOTOR, they're like, whenever you get to the darkest, scariest places ever, you're like, I bet you there's a Tarentatech in here. So like the underbelly of Kashyyyk, like the bottom floor, like the ground floor,
Oof.
not up in the branches, where they're wearing their red robes and celebrating Life Day. We're talking about the basement.
Oh man.
They're down there, pretty scary. One of them has like a rusted sword stuck in its side. You've got to retrieve it
Oof.
as a mission. It's very metal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a lot more to say about it, but let's move on. So far we've got Balyeg
Giz
Giz-
Giz
and Tarentatech.
Tarentatechs.
Who's up next? Emily. This is
Yes.
definitely
the
just as
OG.
frightening. Definitely just as frightening as Tarentatechs, isn't it?
If you are force sensitive, possibly. The Isla Miri from Heir to the Empire. So they're Thrawn's little pet sloths that just kind of like hang around your neck and block force. They like create like little anti-force bubbles. And so it prevents the force from working when you're around them. It's like classic Legends. You can't read a Legends book without a reference to one of these, I think. Right?
They're in a lot of books, that's for sure. I mean,
I've actually
I
got
feel like they're in like most of them.
got a little action figure here, like a classic '90s Thrawn with a Ysalamari around his neck. So
nice.
that's cool.
That's right.
I think
That's
we
right.
That's
did.
really
You get that
cool.
in Orange County when we went?
I might have. I think I,
think you
did.
did.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And to
'cause
be
you
fair,
walked
they
in the
are, like-
store-
Yeah.
You walked in the store, Freddie, and you were just like, you walked right to it. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Star Wars things, and you just like had a homing beacon. You could,
Jared.
you could sense that bubble, that force.
Yeah.
So
Force bubble.
the basic idea is they like evolved, in the jungle to repel their natural predator. Is that right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah, the
Vornskers.
Vornskers, yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
talking about the Vornskers?
Speaking
Tell us
of
more
the
about these bad boys.
Vornskers,
Yeah.
they are the animal, the creature that hunts Ysalamari, Ysalamari. On,
Yeah, you didn't say that half as elegantly as Emily. I'm going to be honest with you.
yeah. On is it Mercure? And they sniff the absence of the Force. Take
No.
that. There's no Force here. So yeah, so they do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
this
what is
a
that, like a
panel-
wolf?
This is an image from. Yeah, it's like a wolf.
It looks like
this
it's
is an image from
part
from
Gungan.
one of the
Dingo.
Thrawn trilogy comic adaptations Very cool. So these form like a great little. It's great world building, to have
Yeah.
um, as Luke and Mara are trekking through the jungle, both not just Ysal and Mari, but also the Wardskers and the way they play off each other and both kind of form this ecosystem on Mirkur. Then eventually, later on in the universe, this is one of our honorable mentions. We've got a much more terrifying Yuuzhan Vong bioengineered version of the Vornskurs called the Voxen. And the
Ooh.
Voxen are featured as the major villain in Star by Star, one of the pivotal New Jedi Order novels. And so these Voxen are bioengineered by the Yuuzhan Vong with Vornskurs, and then like one of their own poisonous beasts to hunt a Jedi. So they can sniff them out, and then they poison them. There's more to it than that, but then they've got to go hunt down the Voxen Queen because they only successfully engineered one, and then they were cloning it. And so it forms like a great plot. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's juicy.
That does sound good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm feeling like next year on Legends Lookback, we just do nothing but the New Jedi Order the entire year, or at least like I don't know, like a season, a quarter. We're teasing it. We're working on it. We'll see.
That's not a bad idea.
It's a lot of reading, but
It's a great idea.
Yeah, Rick's like, I don't know if I have time for this.
There's not enough audiobooks, but I still am
Maybe one
intrigued.
day.
I'm intrigued.
Maybe one day. Okay, so we've got Balya, Gizkiz, Torrentotex, Isalamiri, Vornskurs. We talked a little bit about the Voxen. Who else we got here?
We've got Dagobah spiders. So
are
Ralph
so cool.
McQuarrie, this is something that it was a concept art that first appeared in Darksaber, also featured in Junior Jedi Knights, Anakin's Quest, Star Wars Rebels, which is my first encounter with it, and most recently in The Mandalorian. So there's these like little like squid spider type things. So they like, can you show the picture, Rick?
I'm trying to find it. I know it's somewhere.
It's like, all right, well, I'll just explain. All right, they're these like cool little like spider.
Nope,
creepy
that's not
things
it.
that have-
That is a Dagobah spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Aha!
it's like a
maybe
knobby white
Yeah.
spider.
There it is.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Yeah. And
So
they
creepy
later
looking.
grew into gnarl trees.
Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
That
Man,
is
It's-
this
crazy.
is
It's really nuts.
some rich lore. I love the way that these have been brought back around. It's such
Yeah.
an iconic Ralph McQuarrie design.
You know,
Mhm.
so that comes from Dave Filoni. We were just talking about before the show, but when I saw Dave Filoni, he likes to doodle a lot. I mean, he's a doodler. He's a cartoonist or drawer. He's very good at what he does, right? And he loves McQuarrie. He loves his art. He's fascinated by it. And if you notice, the person who is now not just in charge of not what is it, Mandalorian, but I feel like some pretty big decisions, bringing back some of that classic stuff, Dave Filoni, into our feature films
I'm so
or
excited.
shows, at least Disney shows. Yeah, so cool
Definitely.
to see some of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of old school designs brought back around, Freddie, we've got another one of these old school designs that's recently been brought back into canon.
Yes, best canon character of all time, the Hoojibs, if you will.
the who?
The Hoojibs.
What? No. What is this? Is not.
This is your
This isn't a
canon
thing.
character right here. This is what the phase
This
3 is
is
going to be about the
Dr.
Hoojibs.
Seuss. Get out of here.
So the Hoojibs first appeared in I think it was Marvel Star Wars, the original Marvel Star Wars in
Oh yeah,
1977.
some old school stuff.
Yeah, issue 56. And if I remember correctly, so they're telepathic rodents. They look like bunnies, and they're energy feeding rodents. Indigenous. I'm gonna read the book here because it's been a while. It's been I'm pretty sure I read this like
No shame in that, Freddie. You gotta do
15
what you
years
gotta
ago.
do sometimes.
All right, so Hoojibs are a species of sentient, telepathic, energy-feeding rodents indigenous to the planet
Cool.
Abra, existing peacefully in a geothermic cave. Hoojibs are menaced by an alien Slivith. Pretty sure I said that right. But assist the Alliance to restore the Republic in defeating the monster and establishing a base inside the Crystal Cave following the Battle of Hoth. So they are heroes.
I remember this
the
being
Alliance.
one of the more interesting, quirky and like memorable like old school Marvel stories.
Yeah,
Like one of my top 5, probably.
it's really good.
I think that Jeroxy never talked about these on the Star Wars archives. So check out our Patreon over there for their Hoojibs episode. I know for a fact that this has come up. I could not tell you which episode it was. So you got to listen to all 50 episodes in order to find
There
it.
you
You're
go.
going to love it. Good luck. And Hoojibs, we got a like a vast array of threat level with these beasts tonight, don't we?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Bali
definitely
eggs,
the
Hoojibs.
other end. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of threat level,
Oof.
take us to the next one, Rick.
Yeah, so I just encountered these creatures in my reading journey. Read Red Harvest, which is a Star Wars Jedi, not Star Wars Jedi. It's a Star Wars zombie book. There's Jedi, and spoiler for that book, but it's all about this engineered kind of Sith cultist plague, the Murakami Orchid Plague, and it infects all these Sith students. But it also infects some tauntauns. And so you have, that's still a Hoojib. You have these zombie tauntauns that are absolutely terrifying.
gosh.
Oh yeah, that's right. And there's
And-
zombies inside of the tauntaun.
Oh,
This is an image
yeah.
I could not show my children,
Yeah.
for the record.
Yeah, that's right. It's good to keep
That's
the children away.
horrifying.
But I want to remind you also that this audiobook was quite off the path as far as like quality and
yeah.
stuff goes. And so I can't remember exactly how they portray these in the book. It's either comical or terrifying, but there's no middle ground in that book.
Oh, there is not.
Yeah. But it definitely was
Yeah.
memorable.
All right, what sound, if you don't remember, what sound do you think a zombie tauntaun makes? Because the tauntaun is kind of like a right?
Yeah.
Usually yours is
Sounds
more
like you're,
gargly.
Reggie.
Yeah, yours is better.
All right,
little bit-
one of us has to scream at the top of our lungs while another one of us makes the regular tauntaun noise. Ready? We don't have to do it. Okay.
All right, good. Yeah, my bad.
Emily is shaking her head.
Jumped
profusely.
again.
See, Emily, that face you just made is exactly the face you're going to make the entire time that you read Red Harvest. You're
Yeah,
like, make it stop.
yeah.
Please make it stop.
It was good. It just was.
No, I'm just saying it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Woo.
I want to know
I
more
like
about
to
the
listen to
Jedi
it.
botanist, though, man.
I like to listen to it when
Oh yeah.
it snows.
Yeah.
Because the book has got like this the snowy landscape of it
Oh yeah,
all.
that's right.
So I like to run through the cemetery
Mm.
in the snow and listen to Red Harvest when I'm really in
Do
a
a
mood.
seance.
Dude, you're gonna get tripped by like a vine and scream and pee your pants and run home because you're gonna be like, "Oh, it's happening! I knew this day would come."
First time I tried Red Harvest, it was too much for me and I quit it. I was
Oh,
like, Mm-mm,
nice.
not about to do that.
That's so funny.
It's
That's right.
gory for sure.
I
There's
was like,
some-
get this devil stuff out of here.
yeah,
But I came back around.
yep.
I had to conquer my fears the old-fashioned way, just like Luke's Jedi Academy students had to do on their very first mission after the Jedi Academy trilogy in the graphic novel, the little comics miniseries from Dark Horse back in the late 90s, Jedi Academy Leviathan, where they have to go and take down an ancient, thought to be extinct, bioengineered serpentine monster with face tendrils and 4 eyes, little beady eyes on this gigantic monster, and razor sharp teeth. Rick, we got an image of the Leviathan there. Yeah, in the background of the Jedi Academy Leviathan graphic novel cover. You got Kip Duron and Borsk 82. Borsk is a different guy. Dorsk 82, Kip Duron, Tion, and the crew. You know, all those weirdos. So they got to go take down this big old dragon. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, just like
That's
I would say,
ridiculous.
I'd say kind of like a. It is a fun. It's called here in the chat. Who is this? Skooma Joe says it's a fun little comic. It is. I like seeing that crew of students have to go do a mission after they've graduated the academy,
Yeah, that's cool.
or like maybe it's their last trial to become Jedi Knights. I don't remember. It's been a while, but it's kind of like the Proto Zillo Beast, like this gigantic ancient monster that
Yeah.
is ruining everybody's days. You know who will never ruin anybody's days? Our next pick,
Best.
and that is Murd. Emily, sister of yours, who's doing Murd?
I could read it. I have no idea what this is.
Nerd.
Republic Commando. Is that from where it's from?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's is a strill, the hermaphroditic six-legged pet of the Mandalorian Waylon Vow,
Yeah, that's how I say
capable
it.
of fly gliding like Buzz Lightyear and flying squirrels.
Yeah.
Real name is Lord Myrtleon. Known for smelling
I teed her up with this one.
No,
She can't even get through it.
for smelling super dank and kicking separatist butt. That I'm gonna need a picture of that. I'm
I don't
sorry. So
know.
it's a
There's actually
hermaphroditic.
There's a
Bird?
great picture on the Wook of Murd. His
Yeah.
tongue is sticking out of his head, like looping around in a big old circle.
It's like think of like your average golden retriever with an incredibly long tongue, like cartoonishly
Murd.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like
And it's
extra
hermaphroditic,
skin.
which is somehow important.
extra skin like a basset hound.
Yeah.
So it can
It's not
glide.
coming up.
It can glide like a squirrel, you know, like a flying squirrel. On Coruscant, it glides in between buildings on like an undercover strike team mission. It's the
Oh
coolest
yeah,
scene.
that's right.
And was that the second Republic Commando book?
What a weird animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
It's
fun?
it's like a golden retriever. I cannot see it now.
What's
It's
fun
like that
is
mixed
that,
with like a bat.
the Mandalorians that you spend time with, they just think this thing is the stinkiest creature on
Yeah.
planet Earth. But what's funny is like they're in helmets. Like how are they smelling this thing through their helmets? Anyway, it's a great little bit of character.
Can we
and
just talk
humor.
about how awesome the adjective dank is? Because
Yeah.
I feel like it's the best thing ever. At
Dank.
Celebration, one of the High Republic authors, he mentioned this group called the Dank Grax, I think. Is that who it was? And I couldn't get that
it's
in my
Daniel
head.
Jose Older. That's a very
That's right.
Daniel,
That's right.
very Daniel Jose Older thing to say.
Oh my gosh, it was like one of the best moments of Celebration. It was hysterical to me.
All right,
he doodled it on a napkin.
Before we, that's right, very dank. The dank murd. Shout out to murd.
Mm.
We've got a vast array of Star Wars Expanded Universe monsters here. Before we rank them, any others that just there we go. Thank you, Rick, for finding our image of murd. I didn't cue it up, but what a great illustration! Oh my gosh, I'm about to make this my phone background.
Six-legged.
I love this.
Six-legged. Man.
It looks all crumply.
Murd is a real one.
Murd.
Yeah, it's got all this extra saggy skin, and then you just kind of think like, oh, it's kind of like a basset hound, and then it friggin' flies. It's, yeah, you learn that it's
So cool.
it's there for a reason. All right, now before we rank, do our definitive Legends Look Back top 10 the greatest monsters in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Any others that need to make the list here? Freddie, I saw that you had one more that you wanted to add.
Yeah. So there's a creature I really like, honestly, and it's I feel like it's been in a couple things, definitely in Star Wars Galaxies, and
There it is.
there it is. That's the second one, and the Bolotar is it's like one of the it's basically, let's see, we've got some pictures, right? It's basically like a giant lizard that you get to ride around
we're
on.
keeping Rick very busy tonight with the images. Thank you, Rick.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Sure thing.
And so in Kashyyyk, it's obviously very, very foresty, hard to get around in a vehicle. So these are your main means of transport throughout the forests of Kashyyyk. You do have to get it though. It's not something you get for free. But it's like a giant lizard, almost like a fractal.
We've got a new member at our church who's like, I don't know, close to our age, and these couples are into Star Wars, and she was telling me the other day, oh, I'm really into Star Wars, like more than I was talking to her husband, thinking he was, and it was sexist to me to think that the dude was more into Star Wars than the wife. It was, I'll admit it. And then he said she's actually more into it than me, and she said, oh yeah, I even still play, I don't know if you've heard of it, the classic Star Wars MMO. And I thought for a second there she's about to say Star Wars Galaxies, and then she said Star Wars The Old Republic. And I was like, yeah, I play SWTOR. But
Yeah,
I was like, we're about to have to introduce you to Freddie C.
Are we having confession
The
time?
classic.
Are we having confession
it.
here? Because
I mean, this episode is off the rails, so say what you gotta say, Rick.
whenever you like meet somebody new and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Star Wars," and then you kind of have to play the maybe it's just me, but like the one-up game of, "Oh, really? Oh, have you read the comics? Oh, have you read the books? Oh, do you have a Star Wars podcast that show on the air every Thursday night at 8:30, 9:30 Eastern?" Like
It is so funny. It's like
yeah.
it's totally a competition. Like
I do the
on
opposite.
Halloween, I met a guy who was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan." It's like, "Oh yeah, you're like I
That's
work for
cute.
a Star Wars company." He's like, "Oh," and I was like, I'm on a Star Wars podcast." He's like, "Oh well, which books do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, well, the Legends books." He's like, "Okay, but which ones?" I'm like,
Yeah.
all of
We
them.
read them all.
Like,
Yeah, I never know. Russian
I don't
roulette
know
on
how
which
to
one we're getting
answer
next
that.
month.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Star Wars is for
I-
everybody. I don't want to be a gatekeeper.
Right.
and
I
be a
try to
jerk
do the
Yeah.
opposite,
but-
Rick. I downplay it because
That's what I do.
I have so
It's
much
too
to
much.
say about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have so much to say.
I
People
like
are
to
like,
test.
I
Right?
see
I
a
like to
kid in a-
test.
I see a kid in a Baby Yoda shirt, and I'm like, "Hey, you like Star Wars?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Me too. See you later." But then, there's other times where I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Like somebody's like, "Hey,
It's
Jared
true,
likes Star
yeah.
Wars," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, that's how it is with
I
me.
just-
It's like, oh, Nia we'll meet some friends, and she'll be like, oh yeah, he loves Star Wars. I'm like, oh yeah, Star Wars. I like Star Wars. It's pretty cool.
You kind of have to, like the Yasalamari, you got to sniff around a bit and see,
Mm.
you know, or is it the Vornskers? Like
It's
the
the
Vornskers.
Vornskers, yeah.
Let's try this again. Like the Vornskers. You got to sniff around a bit and see.
You're like, hey,
you know.
Hoojibs, and they're like, oh, I love Hoojibs. And I'm like, ah.
If I
Now
discover
we're
the person is
talking.
willing to go there, because a lot of times, unfortunately, what you get is somebody who wants to dump on the
Mhm.
prequels or the sequels
Mhm.
or Dave Filoni or I mean,
No
you
interest.
name it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing that. But if you want to get nerdy, I'll show you my collection. Come on. up.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of nerdy, let's get into our quick honorable mentions here. Before we move on, let's save the second one. We did the Voxen. All right. There's two that both start with G. I want to hear Rick try to disambiguate these two.
Well, let's see here. The redneck Rick would say Gorog, but I'm gonna go with Gorog.
Gorog is a major
Mhm.
boss that you have to battle in The Force Unleashed 2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we have pictures of both the Gorog and the Gorax, which is coming
Ooh,
up next.
Gorax.
I don't.
Very difficult.
Gorax.
Oh,
So,
hey,
Very
we do.
difficult beast.
Cool.
what is the Gorax, Freddie?
You want-
Gorax is a large primate-looking, hairy, Bigfoot kind of character
Wow.
that lives on Endor and harasses anything.
And everyone.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
nightmares.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's
It's like a troll
the Gorax.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's basically just a troll, right? A giant
very
troll.
powerful creature. That's for sure.
Have y'all?
Yeah,
This
this,
is
is,
huge.
this is the major villain in Caravan of Courage.
Interesting. Okay.
Other than the constraints of making a 1980s made-for-TV movie.
Have nice. Have y'all played the new Battlefront 2 Ewok Hunt mode? Ewok Hunt mode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, I played the story mode and never touched it again.
I gotcha. Well, the whole premise is you're a stormtrooper and you're in the dark on Endor and you're being hunted by Ewoks. But you're also you're woo, 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 woo. You're also trying to hunt the Ewoks if you can and be like the last one standing to escape the planet. But once
Are
you
these
get
on there?
killed,
No way.
once you get killed by an Ewok, you become an Ewok and you're trying to get all the other stormtroopers. But like that game by itself, it can be pretty creepy because you can't
Yeah, it is.
see, that you're surrounded by sound effects. But if they threw one of these guys in there, I would wet my pants. Like it would be game over. Like I would flip over the couch. So I really hope they just drop that in one day. It'd be fun.
This is the way that the indoor lore the way that the indoor lore is developed after Return of the Jedi in both the Ewoks cartoon and in both the Ewoks movies is bazonkers. And you can quote me on that. The fact that these were there the whole time and somehow they never bumped into them in Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi is
Yeah.
also the way these are like I
They're
guess
rare.
I guess they're like
not
stop
everywhere.
motion or whatever
Hmm.
in that movie. The way that these are articulated, or maybe there's an actor in a suit it's so vivid and
Yeah.
bizarre. Oh, they're pretty cool. So definitely making, I don't know, like maybe like the 10 spot on my list. Not the top of the list, but definitely deserve a place, at least in the honorable
Not on the
mentions.
bottom.
Not to be confused with Gorog, which Rick talked about there, the big boss from The Force Unleashed 2. You got the Gorax from Caravan of Courage, and the Gorog, which, basically looks like a rancor with extra tusks, right?
Mhm.
Does.
And then we've also got the pets. Let's talk a little bit about the pets here as we wind up. We're going to end it where we began it, and that is if you could have. We got to do this. We got to do our ranking first, don't we? Before we get onto the pets.
Oh yeah.
Before we get
Top
onto the
10.
pets. All right. How would you rank these out of the 10? Out of the 10, like who's top of the list? Maybe can we go 10 up to 1? What's the right way to do this?
Should we do top 5? Top
Let's do
5.
top 5. I like that. Gives us
That-
some choices.
Does okay.
Are we doing
who-
scariest or most important? What's
we,
our
we create our own
criteria?
criteria.
All right. all right.
Rancor.
I'd say like what, iconic or most well developed, the scariest? What do y'all think?
I
What's your
think scariest.
vote? The
Or is-
scariest
Mm.
monsters in Star Wars Legends.
What about important?
Scary,
I like
important.
And I like scary.
All right, so important is a sub factor. Scary is the primary factor here. The
Right.
5 scariest monsters in Star Wars Legends. Can you count a rancor? I mean, or are we going to count those just as movie monsters? Because they are in,
Listen,
the courtship
yeah.
of Princess Leia. The Dathomiri Force witches ride those
Yeah,
suckers.
there's a lot of
Bane,
legends.
Bane fights them on the
Yeah,
on
and
Lehon.
Rancor, yeah. Rancors. I'm doing it too.
You think we can give rancors like an honorable mention, or like an asterisk?
They're legends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Sure.
so we'll give that to asterisk. So our number
Make
5.
sure to say it with the Legends dialect.
Let's
Rancor.
talk about our contenders,
Rancor.
and then we'll put them in order of 1 to 5. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say that I'd like to see the Gorax make bottom of the list at least.
I would say now that I know about the Torrentatex, I am.
Those are
Yeah,
pretty cool.
those are pretty terrifying.
I'm terrified
at
of
the-
those. Yeah.
Number 1 spot.
That got more more action than my recommendation for the Gorax, which got nothing but crickets. So
Gorax, pass.
okay.
It was an honorable mention. What about the Leviathan?
Yeah.
It's definitely big
Crickets.
and
Okay.
definitely scary. So I think it could be like a 5. It could be like a 5.
Okay.
Delamiri, number 2.
All right, but are they scary, or is Thrawn the scary one?
They're
Because
important.
Thrawn uses them.
Yeah, they drive the
To mess
whole
people up.
plot.
They do drive the plot.
They're the key.
And if you're a Jedi, you must be terrified the moment you realize your powers are being dampened.
How about Voxen? For even though y'all haven't all read, Star by Star yet, my description, I feel like it resonated with y'all earlier.
Yeah.
Bioengineered by the Yuuzhan Vong, using the Vornskurs
Yeah,
that
it's
hunt
pretty terrifying.
force-sensitive creatures. All right, so
Yeah,
we're gonna put them on
yeah.
the list. We got. I don't know if we showed it off earlier. We got a Voxen photo.
Do
A
we?
It's pretty
Voxen
scary.
image of we got Alima Rar and Anakin Solo facing off against a Voxen on the Yuuzhan Vong world ship above the planet Mirkur. I
Do
think it's been
we?
10 years since I read this.
Do we have that picture?
Okay.
Dagobah
Oh, hey!
spiders.
Oh my goodness, I found it, and it is terrifying.
Ooh.
It's dinosaur.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
dinosaurs with
Yeah.
many legs.
Yeah.
Many legs. That's right. 8 legs.
To make them faster. That's
Does that
great.
make it an arachnid?
That is
Freddy?
just a full-on T-Rex in the background.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of
So
T-Rexes, what about the Balyeg?
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely deserves
Balyeg.
a spot. So far we've got Balyeg, Torrentatek. Did anybody second Ysalamari?
They're
Silence.
not really scary, but they're important.
Nobody.
No.
Nobody else supported it. Freddie. Sorry.
Dagobah spiders.
We got Vornsker. We got Voxen. We got Leviathan. So we need a 5th spot. We need one more to get us up to 5. Freddie
Let's
says the
see.
spiders. What do we think?
Yeah, those are good. They're important and they're scary.
I'll say
And
this.
They
I showed
made
it-
it.
I showed it to my kids earlier. All these monsters. I did not show them the Tauntaun. I
Oh,
showed them
yeah.
all the other ones.
That's true.
And the Dagobah spider was the only one that was so scary that my kids ran away.
Ooh. There you go.
I mean, giant spiders are always a win. That's why there's one in like every fantasy series. So, I could get on board with that.
Yeah.
And they
So-
turn into trees?
Let's
Crazy.
put that one. We don't need to get into that right now. We're running out of time. The trees thing. You go to Star Wars Archives for that one. I know they did like a Mandalorian recap episode where they got into that. Okay, so we got the spiders, the Leviathan, the Voxen, the Tyrantotech, the Balyeg. What's our order out of those 5? I'm gonna say which one of those was our Leviathan is 5. Leviathan is like it's just a big dragon.
Just
Voxen, number 4.
Because it's basically a bioengineered 8-legged dinosaur. Okay,
What else do we have? We've got
the spiders like a solid 3, right?
yeah. And then you could say Tyrantotech's at 2 and then Balyeg at 1.
Balyeg is the number 1. All right, I'm gonna
Blood ties,
vote
Boba Fett,
to
number
reverse those for the Tyrantotech to be number 1.
I think Trinitech number 1, Balyeg 3 or 4, and crap, what's it called? Emily, what'd you say? Which one did you say?
Dagobah spiders.
Which one? The one that Jared shot down?
The
Or
Leviathan?
Yeah, the
Not-
Leviathan.
Okay, there's another one. The Vorax.
Um,
Maybe that the
Voxen.
Vorax. The Voxen, thank you. Maybe the Voxen a little higher.
A little higher.
Yeah. Maybe Voxen as 2 or 3 and Tyrantotech's as 1. I have to say that very slowly or else my stutter is going to give me nightmares.
I'm with
So-
Rick on Tyrantotech at 1. All right, so we got 2 votes
I can get with
for
that.
Tyrantotech. All right, Tyrantotech is number 1. Congratulations to the Tyrantotech. We're gonna send it Rick's first place trunk or treat medal
Hey.
in the mail.
Tech, we choose you.
Very much so for being the number 1 scariest monster in the Star Wars expanded universe.
And the Digimon expanded universe.
Absolutely. All right, before we wrap it up tonight, we're going to end the show where we began it, back on the subject of pets. For all these fantastic creatures and monsters, we haven't even talked about, the Kowakian monkey lizards of it all. For all of the great... Yeah, we haven't even talked about these
Oh my
bad boys.
gosh.
For all of the great monsters in the Star Wars expanded universe, there's very few pets. Like folks who are just hanging out with a critter for the sake of having a companion. Shout out to Jabba the Hutt for being a good pet owner.
Whoa. Is he a
Yes,
pet?
did have a lot of pets.
Well,
I
so
mean-
let's just be... What?
He was
You don't
a
think he's a pet?
he was an operative.
For sure. He's a lackey. That's
Yeah.
what he is.
Yeah.
He's like Joey the rat in Boy Meets World.
That's
Joey
right.
the rat.
But then he's got, the rancor down in the dungeon, and he's got an owner. All right. So a shout out to a couple of great expanded universe pet relationships. Talked about Murd, the bird dog, the golden retriever, with Waylon Val in Republic Commando. We talked about Vornskers. We overlooked the fact that there's 2 very iconic Vornskers in the Thrawn trilogy, and that is Talon Card has 2 pet Vornskers, Sturm and Drang, which are very cool. In a recent canon book, you've got the one that Freddie just read, the Ember, the Charhound, hanging out with
Oh, yeah.
the
Yep.
Jedi Padawan. What's his name?
Had you not asked
Looks
me?
Bell.
like
Bell Zettifar.
Bell, yeah, Zettifar. Thank you.
Yeah,
reminds me of Murd, sort of, but a fire-breathing one.
absolutely. So there's also one more that we've at least got to give a shout out to. Any other great pets in Legends? I'm thinking about on Alana Solo in the Fate of the Jedi series. So the granddaughter of Han and Leia. Ooh, I'm struggling here with these are some Legends deep cuts. Like I said, we're getting into some D tier monsters. Alana Solo, Han and Leia's granddaughter, has a pet Nexu. This is art by Brian Rood, and I love it with
Ouch.
every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
What?
She's a Jedi princess
Mhm.
Yeah.
with a
It
pet
has a
Nexu.
pet next. I mean,
Sure.
it's really just a scary kitten, so that makes sense.
It's a very scary kitten.
It's like a big, scary kitten. They move the same, the claws.
Absolutely. So this brings up the subject. If you could have a monster, I mean, that's all pets are really. We tolerate monsters in the home of various shapes and sizes
It's
and
true.
temperaments.
Hmm.
And if you've ever looked into the eyes of a cat, you know what I'm talking about. If
There you go.
an expanded universe critter in your house,
Mm.
exactly. I'm looking at the same image, Rick. It's
Mhm.
the exact same thing. All right. If you could have a Star Wars creature as a pet, what would it be? Lead us off, Freddy.
All right, let's see. 2 pet rancors
Yep.
and
What are their names?
Cuff and
Jimothy and
Link.
Timothy.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
So good.
Emily, you're next. Emily's the one that had this
Would
first.
you call Timothy Taco Tim? I hope so.
Taco Tim? Yeah, that's for sure. Taco Tim.
Very
Taco
nice.
Tim,
very
come here.
nice. I couldn't think of a good name, but I would for sure have a mythosaur. I
Named
mean,
Jimothy.
come on. Yep.
A
Yeah.
mythosaur.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That wasn't even on my list. Way
Yeah,
to
that
go,
was a good
Emily.
one.
Well, because isn't it is it canon or no?
Well,
I don't
in
know, it's
Legends, I
kinda
think
brought
they talk about Boba Fett's sigil being a mythosaur skull. So
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What's the big brontosaurus that Boba Fett rides in the holiday special cartoon? Isn't that the Legends
Oh.
mythosaur?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That big
yeah.
purple
Yeah.
dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yep.
picturing the one that he spanks. Doesn't he spank it with his
He
rifle?
hits it. He hits it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's trying to eat the Y wing, or is it the Y wing?
Oh.
I think it's a
Emily,
Y
are
wing.
you pro spank? I can't even say it.
Should
What
you
would you
name
do
your
with-
mythosaur
Jared,
Spanky?
What would you do with
There's some things
What would you do with your
can't
mythosaur?
say on a podcast.
No, listen,
And
there's-
no, I would not spank a mythosaur. What kind of question is that?
I
I
was
want
having a
that
debate
on
with,
a T-shirt. Would you
I was
spank a
having a-
mythosaur?
I was having a debate with coworkers today about whether or not you should spank your children, as like
Oh.
a disciplinary thing. So
Uh-huh.
I'm referencing something from earlier in my day. You didn't
Uh-huh.
know that. I'm
Yeah.
telling you now. And that
Nope.
makes it all okay.
That was very much without context and made me very much uncomfortable. No.
Your apologies in the
mythosaur-
mail.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on.
All right,
Who's up
Rick,
next?
go ahead.
Yeah. I misunderstood the assignment, and so
no.
I didn't think of a monster, but a creature that I like to have as a pet would be a good old friendly Eopie that I
Mm.
would name Rue. So
Well,
Aw.
I did conflate the question a little bit, so you're welcome.
thank you.
Also, I have not really thought of my answer, so I'm stalling for time a little bit as I think of it and try to recover from that awkward thing I just said to Emily.
You'd have a murd, no doubt.
Hey.
I
You should.
definitely do like it. I am, however, a little sensitive to the strong pet smells,
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
and Murd is known for that.
Yeah.
I can imagine raising some hoojibs out in cages, near the
Mhm.
barn.
You would
cages in the
cage
cold.
them.
Yeah. A
Well,
nice
I mean,
little rancor.
like meat hoojibs.
You would just want some.
meat hoojibs.
Would
Yeah.
you? How do you feel about wrangling and strangling real life gizkas? Is
I
that
was
on
gonna
your
say,
your
that
top
sounds
list?
like a Gizka situation.
Definitely a Gizka situation for sure. Hey, I bet you some deep fried Gizka legs would be
Deep fried.
good. I could see that. I
Uh-oh.
could see that for sure. All right.
Feed Kindaris.
And then one final question as we wrap up. If each of us was a Star Wars creature, what creature would we be?
Hmm.
I can
Well, I
imagine.
feel like we should answer that
Hoojibs value
for
friendship.
each other.
Yeah, for each other. Like you don't get to pick your own.
Oh,
We have to answer them. So let's do
Yeah,
Freddy
this
first.
is a pseudoscience. I don't.
Let's do
think,
Freddy first. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be from the list. It could be a movie creature. I can
If I was a
imagine Freddy.
creature,
Freddy's like a Wookiee,
Nah.
right hand man, co-pilot,
Oh no, I got it.
who is dependable and could totally rip your arm out of your socket.
Okay, hold on. We need to clarify the rules. Are we talking alien species or sentient, communicatable
That's important.
animal? Because Wookiees have a determined language. They're sentient and all that. Half of these creatures are monsters that we can't communicate with.
level of
So-
intelligence might be a little different.
Yeah.
I was trying to I was stretching a little bit, Rick, to be
Well,
honest.
I was
in
gonna
order
say
to make it fit for Freddy.
a Nogri But
Okay.
Ooh.
but then I was like,
I
they're
second
also a
the Nogri.
species. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Freddy's
aren't they
a
like
Nogri.
assassins?
yeah, like they're
Yeah.
ninjas. They're basically ninjas.
Yeah.
And Freddy, that's what
They're
you are.
ninjas.
Since you totally like work for the government and you're just saying you're an engineer as a front because
As a
you
front.
have abilities and special skills and all that.
Absolutely.
skills.
He is
Yeah.
an ogre. I see that
Yep.
for sure.
Yep. 100%.
Okay. I see Jared as a Twi'lek.
Oh,
Once again,
See the brain tails
a
twitching.
dancing girl.
I was gonna say, what are the dancing
That's
skills?
the only thing that came to mind.
So it just never mind.
Can
I'm
you
not gonna go there.
explain?
I really have no other reason other than his I could see his brain tails twitching if
Yep.
something were
Mm.
I
happening.
can see it from here.
Yep. And yeah.
Now I really want to learn the dance that the Twi'lek does in Knights of the Old Republic. That you have to like learn with her as her dancing partner. I'm gonna learn it tomorrow. It's a rainy day. We'll see. I bet you my daughter would enjoy doing that with me. All right, what else we got? Rick, what kind of Star Wars creature would Rick be?
I would
Hmm.
definitely be a hut. You can go ahead and just go ahead. There you go. That's me.
Oh my gosh.
Rick
Okay,
the
Rick.
Hut.
Rick, you would be a Kowakian monkey lizard because
Yep.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
I'd be a
because
fat one.
and I say this with knowing
Keep going.
that
Just
you
get
know
to
this. Now I need you to know this, Rick.
Oh dear.
It's my favorite Star Wars character of all time is Salacious B. Crumb.
No.
Unironically,
Uh-huh.
I love All right, here's why. Salacious B. Crumb loves dad jokes. Really has an odd, annoying sense of humor.
That's true.
Thank
That is
you.
true. I
That
can
is
get on
someone
board with
saying
that.
From the heart.
saying moist.
For sure. All right. And Emily, what? I am not going to guess on Emily's because I'm already in hot water with her after that last comment.
It's
Let's
calamari.
see.
Okay,
Miss
kind of
Calamari.
shrewd and sly.
Uh-oh.
Is
That's
shrewd a bad
hereditary.
word? I didn't mean it as insulting.
It's quiet all of a sudden.
I'm not gonna say a word.
All right.
I'm
is,
just gonna listen.
How would you describe a calamari? Just
Hey,
Let's-
I like to call this segment "Three Men Try to Characterize Their Female Co-Host
mansplaining
as
Star
a
Wars
monster."
beast. Yeah.
As a monster. I'm a little offended. I'm not a zombie tauntaun personally, but
Oh, that's
I
fair.
understand.
Let's go with
you
Nexu.
smell better than that. That's
Next
why.
you,
And
right?
next,
Yeah.
Fierce.
Ooh.
And-
But-
Nexu,
But
for sure.
what's the word? Graceful? I don't know.
Graceful? Very
Agile.
good.
You're a runner, so
For
But
sure.
you know
that
what? I
went
feel like-
very different directions
Yeah,
from an
yeah.
Islamiri, which is basically a neck sloth.
Makes
like-
a great pet.
a
Makes a great
next-
pet.
I was
Hangs out
thinking of
with-
the powers that
hangs
it's
out
able
with the
to
Jedi
that's
princess. It's
repel
dependable.
the force.
Only cuts Padme in a strategic place. Right.
Profession.
yeah.
A professional beast. All right, we're moving on. Here we go.
right.
Congratulations. I got one more.
Beast.
One more. Corey Hilton. We got to do Corey.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going
Okay.
to recommend that Dr. Corey Hilton, CEO of utini.com, is a tauntaun, and here's why.
Zombie Tauntaun?
Just a traditional tauntaun.
Traditional tauntaun. Your
Traditional.
vanilla tauntaun.
Because he gets you places.
He
First
gets-
of all,
he
Corey,
does.
Corey gets you places. He has a vision and he sees it. He's tremendous endurance. He can weather storms and crises. And also, on the outside, you're like, this is a little intimidating. that goat face, not Corey, but the tauntaun, All right, here we go. Then you slice him open,
Oh,
warm and lovable.
this is.
Love
Corey, I'm
Yeah.
trying to say he has
You
a heart of
thought
gold.
way too hard about
Under
that.
the surface, I'm spitballing here. Under the surface,
Okay, sorry.
Corey
Under,
has a
oh,
heart of gold.
I was gonna say
and
Leviathan,
the
a bioengineered
self-sacrificing,
serpentine creature.
I was gonna say Sarlacc. He's scary to look at, but he's very survivable. That's Boba Fett.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, this has
Cool.
been a lot of fun. Let us know your favorite Star Wars monster let us know your pets. You got any Star Wars pets or great pet
Yeah.
stories? Or, you know what? Tomorrow's Friday. It's been a long week. Throw us your pets in the... That's a weird thing to say. Throw us your pets. Throw some pictures of your pets up in the Legends Look Back Discord channel.
You're all about
And
throwing.
Show us a
Well-
crystal snake.
Show us your crystal snake. Thank you for joining us here on
Okay.
Legends Look Back. This has been a great time. Next week, we are getting into the spirit of November with American Thanksgiving right around the corner. And we want to learn what it is about Star Wars that you are most thankful for. I just said moist, Rick. On accident.
Hey, what are you moist thankful
You
for?
ruined this. All right, we were
Man.
so close to the end here. Next week, we're going to celebrate what it is about Star Wars that we are most thankful for. Let us know your Star Wars gratitude. It can be something in the expanded universe. It can be something you love about, your favorite Star Wars podcast. It doesn't have to be a Uchini show. We'd love to hear it. And if it's good enough, we'll put it on the air. And if it's bad enough, we'll put it on the air. And we can't wait to hear what it is that's got you thankful for the galaxy far, far away. And then in 2 weeks, we've got a big crossover event coming up alongside some of the other Utini shows. I'm very excited for it. It's like Shark Week, but scruffier.
Mm.
It's Wookiee Week. And
Ooh.
all I have to say about that is that does it for this week. Thanks for joining us for Legends Look Back. Thanks to our incredible patrons for your support. We love making this show. And we're glad you are along for this wild and wacky ride. A special thank you to our Jedi High Council, Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander. And our Alliance High Command, Ashley Ingalls, Elizabeth Cloutier, Sally Eilerson, and Chris Eilerson. Remember to sub to the channel and leave us a review in your podcast platform of choice. Did I just call that a podcast?
Platform. Podcast platform of choice.
If you like your thoughts right on the show, you can find our contact information down in the description below, or we're on Twitter at Legends Look Back. If you're looking to buy some of these books, the books about the zombie tauntauns or the Tyranitar or Murd, the Strill that can fly, you can go on over to Uchini.com, click the Amazon link in the profile, and then after you've read it, let us know what you think and leave us a review. Remember to keep the Uchini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.